What's up, Bunters? Back with you again today. This is going to be a little bit different of a format today, as we have a little bit of an interview kind of. I had a sort of back and forth via email with someone, and I wanted to share that. But basically, about a week or so ago, there was I went to go make a trade. You know, I looked and saw that there were someone had 8 of a card I needed of a prospect that I collect, and immediately I didn't even bother sending a trade to them because I just knew that I couldn't get the card, even though they had 8 of it. And it was nothing against this person. It's just, you know, I have sent them trades before and got declined, and they don't really respond. And so it's just like one of those things where I was like, I'm not even going to try on that person. I'll try somebody else. And so it did get me thinking about sort of what's it like for that person in the app? What is their thought process? How do they engage with the app on a daily basis? And so what I did is I reached out to them and I just said, hey, would you be interested in a little interview? Would love to sort of get your thoughts about the app and how you collect and what you think about everything. And they agreed to, they want to stay anonymous. And so that's why this isn't going to be sort of like a face-to-face interview that you'd seen before. And I'm not even going to use their name or allude to who they are, except to say that they're, you know, it's a whale. It's one of these massive accounts. You have sent them a trade. They have declined it. It's just, you know, It's just he wants to stay anonymous, and I don't blame him even a little bit. So we're gonna do this. We're just gonna go through these questions I sent one by one, and I think one of the interesting things is, you know, it's one of those things where the thing that unites us is stronger than the things that make us different, right? In that he's just like us. He's just like one of the guys in our Facebook groups who we talk to daily. You know, he has his own frustrations with the apps and things he wants, and his own thought process and everything. So it's interesting to sort of get this behind the behind the curtain look at a kind of, you know, whale on Bunt and their thought process, and to see that it sort of matches with a lot of what we all talk about every day. So, anyway, we'll jump into it now. Here's the first question. And the first question was, when did you discover the app? They said sometime in 2020. I don't remember how I found the app, but I've been collecting cards as long as I can remember. I started getting discouraged by the quality of physical cards, especially as the price for packs went up and up. So this alternative was appealing. So that makes a lot of sense, right? 2020 was a boom year for Topps Bunt. It was the COVID, the pandemic. Everybody was inside, and we were finding this app when there wasn't even baseball, which is really interesting, right? I remember my first few months on the app also, for me, was early 2020, and we didn't have baseball till July, so I didn't really even understand how the app operated for 4 or 5 months. So so this person also found it during the big boom of 2020. Next, I asked, are there any perks to being a sort of Uber user that we don't know about? Has Topps ever reached out to you personally? They say, I don't think so. Topps hasn't reached out to me personally. I found their customer service through the app to be helpful and responsive, but I don't use that too often. So here, I think this is Topps dropping the ball, honestly. You know, if you have these massive Uber users, these whales, these big accounts, I personally would want to sort of, as a company, would want to sort of tap into that and create a relationship. You know, you want them to stick around for a long time, and maybe offer them various perks, diamond deals, or exclusive physical product, or solicit feedback about various things. You know, you would think he'd be a prime target of somebody you'd want to be an early adopter for the NBA app, and to try to get him involved in that process. So this is, I think this is really, as a marketer, a professional marketer, I find this is kind of Topps dropping the ball. They should really try to engage with these guys. Next, I ask, we all get an absurd amount of bad trades, but I have to imagine it's out of control for you. What's that like? They say, I've ran into a few people who are upset because I don't often revise or explain why I turned down an offer, but I do get an overwhelming amount of trade offers. I used to get a few hundred a day, but started blocking the users who were obnoxious. Trades where they ask for a legendary, for a common, spam the same trades over and over, etc. So that has helped. If I log on and have 20 plus trade offers, I'm probably not going to chat or revise on every offer, to be honest. So that makes a lot of sense, right? When you're somebody that has, especially multiples, duplicates of so much of especially the new stuff, right? Because these people, these whales are people that spend thousands of dollars on every drop, and so they naturally have 15 of every super rare or 4 of every iconic, and so they're the names that pop up every time someone logs in. They're going to get a ton of trade offers, and so it really makes sense, I guess, that that it would get overwhelming, and that you couldn't take time to really sit down and reply to every single offer. I get that completely, even on a smaller scale. I don't have anything close to the kind of account that they have, but sometimes, even when there's 5 or 10 trades in there, I don't want to sit there and sort of break down one by one why I didn't want to take this, what actually is a bad offer, from somebody. They go on to say the most common type of trade offer I get is multiple lower CC pieces of common players or everyday players, minor stars, for a higher CC of a big name player. For example, I could get offered Josh Smith and Giancarlo Stanton with CCs of 50 for a 100 CC Ohtani. While I do appreciate the interest in my piece and the offer, I'm probably not going to accept that. And we all see that every day in the app, right? Where people offer us, minor stars for big name rookies and, the higher value cards. It's a way to sort of make the trade look like it's better for the person on the other end, but in reality, they're giving up in this case, he's saying Ohtani or whatever it is. It's especially egregious when you look at sort of the offers for rookie cards, which we know carry inherently higher values, but people will try to send a 5cc of a nobody for a 10cc of a big name rookie, and the value's just not there. So he's getting a lot of what we see, but he's getting a lot more of it, right? All right, next I asked, is there anything someone could do to make their trade stand out to you? And he says, honestly, just a fair and thoughtful trade. If you're asking for a star, offer a star in return. I think that's, more than fair position to take. We know that everyone is trying to win trades. People so rarely send an actual fair offer. And so when you run into these situations where they're trying to win the trade by offering a lower quality player for a higher quality player, it's just so easy to decline that. And, just imagine that on, a 10x, 20x scale that one of these guys are seeing it. So it makes a lot of sense. And next I asked, do you get a lot of hostility from folks when you decline their trades? I'm sure there are times you have a one-on-one that is the sort of missing piece to a master set for someone. Do you feel a lot of that heat in your in-app conversations? They say, not sure it's a lot, but I do get some hostility or even accusations of blocking others from completing sets, etc. Honestly, I don't often explain why I've declined a trade and should put more effort into doing that. I get why it would be frustrating. So there you have, this bit of awareness that he understands he does have a lot of the cards that people need, especially when you get down to like a 5cc or a 1cc. There aren't a lot of options to get that card. I think of our guy in the Bunt BST group, Jared Jones, who is collecting all the Jared Jones. And, there are certain accounts that if there's a 101 that he's needs to get, if it's in one of those accounts, it just, it becomes almost lost to the community. Our guy here, our whale here is definitely recognizing that, there's more he can do on that front, either by explaining or countering or offering, revising a trade and things like that. So that's cool to see, that he's, got that kind of awareness, about the situation. It honestly surprises me a little bit, though, that the amount of hostility doesn't really stick out to him, because even for me, I get so much hostility when I decline trades. I just couldn't imagine what it would be like to feel the sort of pressure that one of these whales are feeling, with the people that constantly like begging. Even I get people, come on, bro, please, I need this, and I'm sure it's on a crazy level for them. Next, it's what is your biggest pet peeve with the app? And they say that there isn't a real marketplace set up by Topps fanatics for the digital pieces on the app. It'd be a game changer for Bunt. The traditional physical card collecting we grew up with is extremely flawed for a myriad of reasons, and Bunt offers really good value to collectors. But to capitalize on that, they need a marketplace. And obviously he's hit the nail on the head here. We all wish there was a marketplace, something similar to what EA has for Madden, or what any of these video games have, what Diamond Dynasty for MLB The Show, things like that, where people can, put up their duplicates for sale on an in-app marketplace. Obviously, if there could be some way for there to be a cash marketplace of some sort, that would be the dream. I'm speaking for myself here, but also, even if they could do something in-app with diamonds and coins, that would be a step in the right direction. So, yeah, totally understand what he's saying there. Would love to see that. And maybe, just maybe, the fact that we've had to, connect Fanatics accounts and things like that in the last year, maybe that's a step towards something like that. But, yeah, so even the whales are desperate for this in-app marketplace that we all want so badly. Next, I asked if they think they'll also collect NBA Collect when it comes out soon, and they said probably not. I do like the NBA, but have never really been a big collector there. And again, I blame Topps. You have whales that are spending thousands of dollars on every drop. How have you not brought them in as early adopters, as testers for this new NBA Collect app? It's just mind-boggling to me. What a missed opportunity. I think he's going to make his way over there. I'll keep an eye out. I think he'll be there, but I understand how daunting it probably sounds to add a second type of collection like he has. But I don't think he's going to be able to resist. I think we'll see him over there, but we'll see. But again, Topps, do your job. Get these whales to come over to the new app. What are you doing? Next, I asked, do you use coins at all, or do you just save them up for fun at this point? And he says, I really don't use them except for releases where you have to get particular sets. I get that even at my level, I barely use coins. I just sort of save them up. Once you've spent the money with diamonds and you see the return you get on those versus coins just feel like a waste of time, honestly. Next, I asked, is there a specific set you look forward to most each year? And they said Bowman. I enjoy picking out a few prospects and following their journey. And, again, same thing here. And to my earlier point, when I was saying he had 8 of a rookie I was collecting, it could have been, it could simply be that, he could be hoarding a certain player because he's betting on that player becoming a big star, and he wants to keep all 8 so that he can maximize the value on them. So you never know what goes into someone's mindset on accepting or declining a trade, but the fact that they're pretty big on Bowman tells you what you need to know about sort of the rookies you might try to get. Next, I asked, do you have an equally impressive physical card collection? They say I do have quite a lot of physical cards from collecting for so long. I'm not sure if it's impressive or ridiculous, but it is fun. Obviously the physical card collecting is the gateway for so many of us to get into this digital world. So most of us have some sort of physical card collection, so it does make sense, obviously, that one of these whales do as well. Would love to kind of, see their collections and to see what they focus on and such. It's always just a really interesting thing, and especially everyone's got their own habits for the physical card world as well that are different from digital, so it'd be interesting to see sort of how he approached that.
Next, I wanted to know if they ever participate in the secondary market. So I asked if they either go on eBay or if they're in the big Topps Buy Sell Trade Facebook group. He says, I do get on eBay, but I don't use Facebook. So that's kind of interesting for me to see as someone who primarily sells and buys on Facebook. A lot of folks in these groups stay away from eBay because of the fees and such. I think if I were like an outside advisor to this person, I would probably advise them to stay on eBay and stay out of the Facebook groups. It can spiral. We have had some of the big whales join the Facebook group before, and they tend to either go quiet or they kind of leave completely. And I think it's because we have this, we have 50 sellers for every 10 buyers or something. And when you have a big buyer, especially, you end up getting the buyer's going to get inundated with sellers in their DMs constantly. Again, it doesn't happen on the same level with me, but I do buy quite a bit in the Facebook groups, and I've constantly got someone in my messages asking, hey, do you want to buy this or do you want to buy this? I can only imagine if you had someone buying at the level of one of these whales, of what their DMs would look like, and the sort of both good faith actors and bad actors who would be trying to take advantage of them or to hook them up with really good deals. It would become a lot. So I think he's probably making the right decision to stay on eBay. But we would love to have him if he ever decides to jump over to our group. Just maybe keep the DMs off. And next I asked, is there one bunk card that you don't have that you really want? And they said, sure, I really love the old pre-World War II players like Ruth, Wagner, Mathewson, Josh Gibson, etc. There are plenty of those cards that I don't have. So with this, especially as someone that's a 2020 guy, I think what he's saying here is, there's probably a lot of 2012 to 2019 of these guys that he doesn't have yet. So again, we know that is sort of a line of demarcation in the app, that 2012 to 2019 is so much harder to get than 2020 to 2025. Knowing this guy, he's got all of those. He's got every single one of those cards of those guys from 2020 to 2025. But as you're dealing with some whales, keep in mind that maybe one advantage that you might have, one way that you can help them and maybe get a trade accepted is with 2012, 2019 guys. It's interesting to see he's got this fascination with the pre-World War II guys as well. Next, I asked, do you ever spend time reading the trade feed, or is that just a waste of time for you at this point? They said, I haven't read that in a long time. I wouldn't say it's a waste of time, though, but worry if I post a want, I'll get bombarded with terrible offers. And, he's right about that for sure. I couldn't even imagine if you had one of these big whales consistently posting in the trade feed. And, I got an offer yesterday of I was posting, and I'll mention him by name. It was Roman48, who's constantly in there looking for Reds and Wade Bog cards and such. And he tried to send me 4 super rares, high CC, 1500 CC super rares for a 50 CC Joey Votto legendary. So he absolutely correct. You keep posting in the feed, you're going to get that kind of nonsense. So he's probably smart to stay away there. Next, I asked, is it a goal for you to have the biggest account in Bunt? Is it something you've thought about, or has it just happened because you love ripping packs? And they say, no, I really don't care about that. I love opening packs and the chase for elusive pieces. Plus, I believe or hope once there is a great marketplace, these will have good value. So I see this as a form of asset building, albeit risky. So that's an interesting perspective, right? He's looking at this as that, he has faith that a marketplace could be coming, and he wants to build up these assets that are going to give him all of this value in a future state of the game. So he's right. It is risky. I would, if I were an outside advisor, again, I would probably advise against that strategy because I just have so little faith in Topps doing the right thing consistently, even when it's to their benefit. But I hope he's right, if he is right about the marketplace, oh my goodness, the advantage that these big accounts are going to have, the value that they're going to have built up is astronomical, sort of compared to the rest of the market. So really interesting perspective on that one. And then my final question here is, do you have any long-term bunt goals? Own all base or have a master set of a certain player, etc. They say, I do chase players and prospects, but really think about it more as set-by-set goals. I like collecting and completing sets. In the end, if a marketplace is built and Topps Fanatics puts care and attention to that and into the app, these will be great assets and very popular. So, again, he's mentioned the marketplace again. Interesting that he's, he doesn't have any of these sort of long overarching goals, which you sort of see sometimes. Like there's a great user, Dan, in the BST group, who I think has every base card, or he's one short of every base card. People create these like long overarching goals sometimes. So I wasn't sure if he had something like that, but it sounds like for him, the overarching goal, the North Star for him is potentially a marketplace. And the advantage that he would have in a marketplace is pretty substantial. It's certainly, with an account his size, I often joke about people who won't trade singles, as you're not going to own every card in the app, so why are you so worried about the single? This is someone that could own every card in the app. It's kind of wild. So that's on the table, especially if there's a marketplace that facilitates the ease of posting these things for sale. I mean, just imagine a world where you could potentially post your dupe 2012 commons for a million coins each or something along that, or 500 diamonds or whatever the case is, and then have people like these whales purchase them, and then the whales, obviously, they sell all the new stuff that they have, and that enables them to buy all the older stuff that they maybe don't have. So really would be, it's an exciting thing to think about. I love the idea. I hope he's right, and I hope that comes to fruition one day. Okay, that is it. I just thought this would be an interesting exercise to get inside the mindset of one of these whales. I hope you enjoyed it. What do you think I should have asked? What did I miss? What do you think I should do next? I've been thinking about maybe trying to have a conversation with one of our big flippers in the marketplace, in the BST group, on the secondary market. Also, I've had a few other thoughts around sort of interviews and how we can go there. But what do you think? What direction should we go in? Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Really appreciate all the support so far. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.